What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with another nope, wrong thing. This is Let's Get Into the Blogs, you guys. I don't know what number we on with Let's Get Into the Blogs. Just like I said in They Come to Fool, I don't know, but I think with Let's Get Into the Blogs, we are at 138. So this is going to be the hot topics for the week of what week is this, you guys? This is May 24th through May 30th, you guys. So before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, and I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine, and you can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss. Let's talk about what's hot and trending. That's the opening. Shall we? All right, you guys. So this week, it's been kind of a light week, kind of quiet, but not that quiet. So I've already talked about 3 stories in They Cutting the Fool. So you guys have already saw They Cutting the Fool. So this is just going to be whatever was left over that I felt like we could go a little bit deeper into, but not that deep. Actually, the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be something that actually happened last week that I did not get to discuss. And that is going to be, so it's politics, but it's not you know who, and it got nothing to do with him. This is former president. So former President Joseph R. Biden, it came out last week that he has an aggressive form of prostate cancer, right? So prayers up to him and his family. There is no cure for the cancer, but I do believe that they are going to do treatments on him for the cancer. That has sparked a lot of debate about, every kind of thing that you can think of where people covering this up, But he did not seek a second term, so I don't understand why people are so concerned about it. I get why people are concerned. Let me say it. I get why people are concerned, but I don't get I get the concern. I get the outrage, right? But at the same time, no one is talking about the cognitive the cognitive decline in the current one. But hey, whatever. But for me, we're just gonna send a prayer up for him, and we're gonna wish him well. Because how old is Joe? Joe is like, 80 something? Joe is in his 80s at this point, right? He's 81, 82, something like that. He's somewhere in his 80s. Let's see. He is 82. I was correct. So he'll be 83 this year on his birthday. He was born in 1942. How old is the fat one? Because he's old too. I think that bitch is going to be 80 this year. No, he'll be 79. Damn near 80. Old sack of shit. But yeah, you guys, prayers up to Joe. That's really all I got to say. If you guys have anything that you want to add, discuss, you guys know what to do. Leave it in the comment section, you guys, and we can discuss it there. Let's pause here, move on to the next story, shall we? All right, you guys, so these next 2 stories are literally going to be update stories because I've already talked about these, so these are updates. So the first update story is Smokey Robinson. You guys remember, Smokey is being sued for SA, right? So I was scrolling through my Instagram feed today, and I saw that Smokey is countersuing the women, because it was more than one. But Smokey is countersuing the women that are suing him, and if I'm not mistaken, he's suing them for 500. Yep, he files a 500. So it says here, this comes to us from the BBC. It says Smokey Robinson files a $500 million case against RAPE accusers. Motown legend Smokey Robinson has filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against 4 former housekeepers who have accused the singer of sexual assault. The legal case was filed by the star and his wife Frances on Wednesday in California, accused the women of fabricating the sexual assault allegations as part of an extortion lawsuit. The Robinsons say the alleged victims, who filed their case anonymously, went on family holidays with the couple and celebrated holidays together. The singer, who is also under criminal investigation in Los Angeles over accusations of sexual assault, has denied all the allegations, and his lawyer said those behind the accusations were after his money. Mr. Robinson's lawyer also filed a motion to dismiss the women's lawsuit, arguing they should not have been granted and they shouldn't have been given. It's going to be a tongue twister for me. I know how to say the word, but it's going to be a tongue twister for me. They shouldn't have been. He feels that they should not have been anonymous, right? He feels like they shouldn't have been Jane Does. He feels like that the courts should have allowed the women's names to be revealed. It says, quote, the Robinsons did not abuse, harm, or take advantage of plaintiffs. They treated plaintiffs with the utmost kindness and generosity, the lawsuit states. We know that the women filed their lawsuit back in earlier this month. And that's really all we got. That's really all we got. So yeah, Smokey is countersuing these women for $500 million. That's a bit excessive. These women said that y'all didn't pay them. So I don't know how you can sue them for $500 million. Who's gonna pay that money? I'm asking a legit question. Who the hell is gonna pay that money? If these are, regular, everyday, working class people, who the fuck is gonna pay that? Is it gonna be on their attorneys to pay that? Like, I really do. If they were to lose the case, but I don't feel like they. Here's my thing. Like I said last time when we talked about this, I tend to believe the victims until proven otherwise, right? I tend to believe the victims, and I'm pretty sure if these women, I don't feel like they would have brought this case forward if they didn't have damning evidence, right? I would hope. That would be my hope, that they wouldn't do that. I would never want to accuse somebody of something that I can't prove. But, hey, we'll see what happens. I think it's a civil case too, right? It's not a criminal case. Well, it does say he does have a criminal case, right? But I think their case is civil. Yeah, he's under criminal investigation, but I do believe that this is a civil case by these women. But okay, and with Smokey, if you say that they tried to extort you, I would hope that you would have some kind of proof to back up the extortion claim, right? I would hope so. But hey, who am I? We'll see how this plays out. We can definitely see how this plays out. But yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next update story, shall we? All right, guys, so the next update story is Chris Brown. Now, I talked about Chris Brown the week before. You guys remember, Chris Brown got arrested out there in the UK, if I'm not mistaken, for clocking somebody over the head with a bottle. Well, as of last week, Chris Brown was released from jail, and he's back on his tour. Here's my thing with Chris Brown. I like Chris, right? I like Chris, but Chris has demons that he needs to battle. And one of them, I think, is, I think that's one of his problems. I think that's one of his problems that he has to deal with. But he was, so this comes to us from the AP News, if it will come up. But it says Chris Brown was freed on a $6.7 million bail in assault case, allowing him to start his world tour. It says Grammy-winning singer Chris Brown was released on a £5 million, $6.7 million bail last Wednesday while facing allegations he beat and seriously injured a music producer with a bottle in a London nightclub in 2023. The decision by a London judge to grant bail will allow Brown to launch a world tour next month that had been thrown into doubt last week when a district judge in Manchester ordered him into custody after he was charged with causing grievous bodily harm with intent. Judge Tony, I cannot pronounce that, in Southwark Crown Court said that Brown could go on tour, including several stops in the UK, but he would have to pay the bail to guarantee his court appearance. So he's going to have to go to court for this. Brown, who was not in court for the hearing, was released in the late afternoon from jail in Salford outside of Manchester, where he had been arrested at a hotel last week. Brown was initially scheduled to return to court on June 13th. Had he remained in custody, he would have missed the first 2 nights of his upcoming European tour, which starts next month. Brown, 36, is accused of an unprovoked attack on producer Abe Diaw at the bar in a Tape nightclub in swanky Mayfair neighborhood in February of 2023 while he was on his last tour. That man got problems. Again, like I said, Chris got problems. Some of them stem from that. And I also do wonder with Chris Brown. Did Chris Brown ever go to therapy after what happened with him, Rihanna, and what's her name? What's the old girl's name? Can't even think of her name. I can't even think of what is her name, y'all. What is her name? His ex-girlfriend. The one that's, oh God, she was in Claws. God damn it. What? Karuchi Tran. Karuchi. How could I don't know why Karuchi was slipping my brain. But I wonder if he's ever, sought help for that. But hey, that's neither here nor there. That was the update on Chris Brown. I don't know if y'all was, wanting to go to. If y'all are going to the, actually let me know, because I actually do know some people that are actually bought tickets to his tour and are excited to go to the tour. Would I be paying money to go see Chris Brown? No. I can honestly tell you that. I ain't gonna put them. Do I still listen to some of his music? He got some songs that I do listen to. I'm not gonna sit here and hold you and lie. He does, but I don't listen to him all the time. But to go to his concert, yeah, bitch, I don't know if I would do that. I ain't gonna support. I just can't. I couldn't do. Me personally. Y'all might want to go. If you do, have fun. But for me, it's a no. Let's go ahead and move on to the next story, you guys, shall we? All right, you guys. So let's go ahead and talk about Diddy and this damn trial. Y'all, the more that I hear about this trial, the more I become repulsed and disgusted. Every time, oh God, it's just a never-ending cycle. And this, what is this supposed to be, an 8-week trial? Oh, also, let's say congratulations to Cassie and her husband, because she gave birth early. I know that. She gave birth this week early to her child, but I think, she and the baby are fine. So, congratulations to Cassie, right? To me, it's still just so mind-blowing that I see people still defending Diddy and making Cassie the bad guy. I know last week, Kid Cudi took the stand, right? And I didn't keep up with what Kid Cudi had to say. If you guys did, feel free to leave it down there in the comments, right? Also, I know Don took the stand. So basically, when Don took the stand I think Don took the stand at the end of last week, going into this week, or it could be the end of the week before and went into last week. Either way it go, Don took the stand, right? And Don corroborated Cassie's story. She said she witnessed the abuse and everything from him. I also know that Diddy, from what I read recently, Diddy is requesting a mistrial. Now, I don't know the circumstances about a mistrial, but hey, if he and his legal team are requesting a mistrial, good luck to him. But even if they call for a mistrial. Sir, here's the thing. Even if I feel that you may get off or whatever, at the end of the day, his reputation is destroyed. I don't see him ever recovering from this, and he shouldn't. He shouldn't. Just being 100% honest about this shit, he should not be. Now, I know that Capricorn Clark, girl, now she got on a new fucking wig. Now she got a new wig. Oh shit, she got a new goddamn wig on. So, I'm sorry, you guys. It's 1 o'clock. And Beyond the Gates just came on. So, Sherry, Dana, Leslie, Anna, and Lulu, they showed up to Ted's hotel room with a new wig on. So, I'm sorry, you guys. That shit caught me off guard to see that bitch with a wig on her head, and a new one at that. But back to this. And so before anybody asks, Beyond the Gates this week is on my channel. So it'll be, me and Really B will be talking about it this week on my channel. I gotta talk to Really B about what date. Well, we're gonna go Saturday, but I gotta talk to her about what time she wants to do it Saturday. But keep an eye on the community tab, you guys. Actually, by the time you guys see this video tomorrow, which is Friday, by the time you guys see this video, by the time you guys see this video on Friday, I should know for sure what time she wants to go, because I'm actually gonna text her later today to see what time she wants to go live on Saturday. But hey, Neither here nor there. But Capricorn Clark, she took the stand, right? And on Tuesday, she let's see, what did she say? She said a lot of things. She talked about the whole Kid Cudi of it all. I did see a post on one of the blogs where Cassie was told to get away from Diddy, and she was like, "Where would I go? Because Jay-Z is taken." And I saw a lot of people in the comments, talking about go get a job, go do this, go do that. Okay, y'all. I'm not gonna argue. I'm not about to go there, but whatever. You guys can feel however you want to feel. This comes to us from NPR, by the way. It says much of Clark's testimony included various claims of physical threats and intimidation allegedly made by Combs and some of his associates. Was aimed to bolster the racketeering charges against Combs, but some of her most vivid statements were related to Combs' admittedly tumultuous and violent relationship with his then girlfriend, the singer and model Cassandra Cassie Ventura. Combs has pled not guilty. We know that. It says, when testifying about the alleged 2011 kidnapping, Clark described events that the jury had heard about last week. This time, from her perspective, she said that it took place after Combs learned that Ventura, with whom he had an on and off again relationship, had begun dating rapper Scott Maducci. I can't pronounce his last name, but also known as Kid Cudi. It says Clark, who wept repeatedly on the stand, testified that Combs came to her Los Angeles apartment door early on that December morning in a state of rage and armed with a gun. According to Clark, Combs ordered her to get dressed and accompany him to Cudi's home in the Hollywood Hills, saying, "We're going to unalive the musician." Damn. She said she was made to wait in Combs' car as he and one of his security employees went inside in search of Cudi. After a chaotic car chase, Clark testified, Combs threatened to unalive her if she went to the authorities, and that he would unalive all three of them, that is, Kid Cudi, Cassie, and Clark, if Kid Cudi notified the police that Combs had been in his home. Later that afternoon, she says she witnessed Combs battering Cassie, kicking her in her leg repeatedly, back and backside as she crouched in a fetal position. Oh my God. So it says here, Combs' first threat against her, Clark alleged, came on her very first day of work in 2004. She says Combs, who knew that Clark had previously worked as an intern for rival producer and record label executive Suge Knight, allegedly informed Clark that if she had anything further to do with Knight, he would unalive me. Clark also testified about an earlier instance in which she was allegedly held against her will. Later that first year, Clark testified associates of Combs locked her into a dilapidated and locked building in Midtown Manhattan for 5 days in order to subject her to many lie detector tests. The alleged incident occurred after the disappearance of 3 pieces of high-end diamond jewelry that had been loaned to Combs and which Clark had been entrusted to look after. The man testing her, Clark alleged, repeatedly told her she would be thrown into the East River if she failed. Clark says she endured the testing to prove her innocence. "I was petrified," she said. One of Combs' security employees allegedly took her home each night and also searched her apartment for the missing jewel. Wow. She says she left Combs. Clark says she left Combs' employ in 2006 after Combs allegedly pushed her repeatedly to take a job at another record group, Jbsayzwhat, but that she eventually returned. She was fired in early 2012 after reporting the alleged 2011 kidnapping to executives at Bad Boy Records, the recording label co-founded by Combs. She was told it was due to improperly taking vacation, and she testified that Combs told her she would never work again. She later received a settlement from Combs over accusations of wrongful termination. Combs' defense team repeatedly objected to prosecutorial questions over the amount of that settlement, which were substantiated. My God, this man is a monster. This man is despicable. And to think that he's been getting away with this shit for years. Like, it's insane to believe, right? It's insane. And to think, it's so interesting and it's so crazy, but I know that God works in mysterious ways, right? I know that God works in the most mysterious ways. You guys remember his show back on VH1, I Want to Work for Diddy, right? You know what? And there's a fucking net in my apartment. I don't know where it came from. So, I Want to Work for Diddy. I don't know if it was season 1 or season 2 of I Want to Work for Diddy, but I personally know somebody, like real personal, somebody that I went to school with, right? I have a friend. Well, I mean, if you guys go Google, I Want to Work for Diddy. I think it was season 2, whatever season, whatever season Laverne Cox was on. That is the season my friend was on. And I remember, like, I was like, oh shit, look at him. Everybody in my hometown was so happy and so proud to see him on the show, right? And I was thinking, like, shit, they do it, because at this point, with I Want to Work for Diddy came out, I was in college. So I was like, okay, if they come up with a season 3, I might audition. But thankfully, they didn't come out with a season 3, and thankfully they did. Thank God they didn't, because I really was gonna apply to be on that show. Like, I was gonna apply to be on that show, you guys, and I kid you not. But looking at this shit and listening to this shit, hell no. Like, I really do wanna. I might reach out to him, but again, like I said, I don't know what the fuck is going on with my phone. I'm pretty positive he was on the second season of I Want to Work for Diddy. And I could be wrong, but whatever season Laverne Cox was on, that's the season that my friend was on. And you guys know where I'm, like, let's see. Let's take a look and see. It was 2 seasons of I Want to Work for Diddy. I don't know what's going on with my phone today. Like, my phone is tripping. It pulls everything up, but I can't see anything. But I think it was the second season. I feel like it was the second season of the show that Laverne was a part of. And if I'm wrong, you guys correct me for sure. I know that. What the fuck? It's something with my Wi-Fi. Like, my phone has been tripping. Like, when I was doing Let's Get Into the Blogs, I was looking up something and my phone started tripping. When I was looking up the definition of czar. Yep. It was the second it was the second season of I Want to Work for Diddy that he was on there. And you guys know, I've said my hometown is Tyler, Texas. So if you guys go, he actually, crazy thing is, he the person that I'm friends with that was on Diddy's show, he also be in Really B's chat quite often. So yeah, but okay, so maybe his season wasn't the season that what season? But you guys do remember Laverne Cox was on I Want to Work for Diddy. Laverne Cox was on I Want to Work for Diddy. I just don't remember. So it must have been season 1 that she was on. It must have been season 1 that Laverne was on. Yep, she was on season 1 of I Want to Work for Diddy. But yeah, I kid you guys not. I was thinking about if they came back with a season 3 that I was going to do it, because again, I was in college at the time. And, business was my major. So I was like, business was my major. And I absolutely wanted to also go into music as well. But again, like I say, the Lord, he works in mysterious ways. Because that was not for me, bitch. Bitch, that was not for me. Because I looking and listening to this shit, bitch, there's no way I could have been around that man. There's no way I could have been around that man. Because, yeah, I mean, it's public knowledge. It's public knowledge. Damn it. Focus phone. Because you see, there his name is right there. There's his name. Because he was a public relations student at the time of filming. Again, can y'all see? Can y'all see? Yeah, see? That's him. Public relations, Kenneth Bell, public relations student, Tyler, Texas. He was eliminated on episode 4. But yeah, I actually should, because we're friends. Are we friends on Facebook? I might reach out to him and ask him what was his experience like with Diddy. I might reach out to Kenneth and ask Kenneth what was his experience with Diddy. That's crazy. But yeah, you guys, let's go ahead and move on to the next story. It still deals with Diddy, but let's move on to the next story, shall we? All right, you guys. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is Don Richard, right? So I said it that Don took the stand to testify against Diddy to corroborate Cassie's story, right? Now, I will say I do think that the blogs have taken what Q has come out and said out of context. And I'm going to read it to you guys. I'm going to see if I can't find it. So, Day 26 singer Quanell Q Mosley gets emotional as he finally revealed the details of his disturbing experience with Sean Diddy Combs. It says the R&B artist shared his story with Danny Kane singer Aubrey O'Day during his appearance on Amy Robach and TJ Holmes' Aubrey O'Day Covering the Diddy Trial podcast. Q began by giving his reaction to Combs' ex-trafficking trial. From there, the singer opened up about the time when Combs allegedly instructed Q's then girlfriend, Don Richard, to give him a pill he thought was ecstasy. Unbeknownst to Q, it was actually a horse tranquilizer. My God, that made him black out. The fuck? Now, this is a quote. It says, within like 20 minutes, I knocked out and blacked out, Q explained. It says, quote, I woke up in the twins' bedroom in the basement, and I woke up out of my sleep screaming very, very loudly. I woke up in their bed, 2 cameras filming me, and they were laughing as I woke up out of my sleep screaming, and it felt like, I'm not going to cry, it felt very sacrificial. That's what I meant when I said I felt like they were trying to hurt me, or Diddy was trying to maybe sacrifice me that night. Q is referring to Day 26's recent interview with Vlad TV, in which he burst into tears when he recalled the same alleged situation. After he explained what happened to him, Q also addressed celebrities like Choppa of the band and Boosie, who criticized him for being open about his trauma. He says, quote, I just want to say respectfully to them, don't believe everything before you actually hear the truth. Because people added things, and I don't have nothing bad to say about them at all. I want them to understand that, be respectful to everyone's trauma. You don't know when a person is still healing and going through the process of healing. It says after the episode aired, Q took to social media to give a more detailed account of what he went through that night, and he coped with it all. How he coped with it all. He recalled all the symptoms he suffered from after the traumatic experience and revealed that he was forced to relearn basic things. With the help of doctors and his family, shortly after Q told his story, Don Richard, who testified in Combs' trial, issued a statement refuting the claims her ex made on the podcast. It says, quote, I want to be unequivocally clear. I have never drugged anyone, she said in the public statement, nor have I ever given anyone pills to take. The suggestion that I did so is categorically false. If such a belief were genuine, it would be inconsistent with the actions that followed, such as inviting me into your home, introducing me to your younger sisters and family, and continuing a relationship with me. I mean, I don't know, you guys. It's like I said earlier, the more that we find out about this shit with Diddy, it's disgusting. It's reprehensible. Here's my thing. Honestly, I hope he does not get off. But if he does, again, his reputation is tarnished in this industry. His reputation is tarnished. And you guys can tell me what you guys think about this whole situation with Q and with Don, right? You guys can tell me what you think. And I know for years we know Q was always the emotional one of Day 26, right? And I know people also used to make digs at Q's sexuality when Q ain't never said that he's gay, bisexual, or anything of the sorts, right? I really pray for Q because of Day 26, Q was my favorite because there was just something that I don't know if it's the cancer in me But something always just resonated with me with Q. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but I was always drawn to Q. Always drawn to Q. So prayers up to Q. I hope he's doing well. Because I do feel bad for people who are victims of Diddy's, and with this trial, they are having to relive things. Like I do feel bad for them. I really truly do feel bad for them, and I pray for them. But that's really it, you guys. Like I said, I don't want to stay on this Diddy shit too long, and we gonna get off of it, and we're gonna move on to the next story, you guys. Shall we? All right, you guys. So the next story, where we going from here? Let's see. I've talked about that. Yeah, something funny that I thought was kind of, it ain't even really funny. It's just something that I saw that made me laugh. You guys know that that football player Travis Hunter. So he got married last weekend, right? I'm sorry. The only thing I see is them teeth and them gums, and then the fact in the comments people were calling him Wanda, Jamie Foxx's character from In Living Color. Bitch, I holler. So him and his girlfriend, well, his now his wife, they're married, right? Ain't no prenup signed. I was like, ooh. Now here's my thing when it comes to a prenup, right? I know people always feel like when you ask me to sign a prenup, that means you don't think that our marriage is going to survive. No, that's not what that means, you guys. That is protecting yourselves. That is not what that means. That I don't love you and I don't think that our marriage is going to work. Because I think there are a lot of people who went into marriage thinking, oh, we good, we ain't got nothing, da 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 da. But then you know, or oh, we gonna be together forever, or you know, a lot of people go into things thinking that, right? And then when we see people who go through divorces and their spouses take them for half, or take them for a good chunk of their fortune, then you want to start. Then when you go through the divorce proceedings, that's when you want to say, oh, she a gold digger, oh, she was a hoe, oh, she this and all that kind of stuff. But she wasn't a gold digger, she wasn't a hoe when you married her. Like, you see the uglies. You see, like, when you get married to someone, you see nothing but the good and the beautiful things in them, right? Absolutely. But God forbid that if you two were to go through a divorce, I think a lot of people have said it, when they divorce their spouse, they don't, the person that they're divorcing is not the person that they married. You know, well, let me get off my soapbox. I'm going to pray for that young man, and hopefully, hopefully they live a happy, fulfilling life. But he's 22 years old. I think that's, honestly, for me, I just think that that's way too young to get married. But hey, whatever. Now, let's wrap up. Let's pause here and wrap up, you guys, shall we? All right, you guys, so let's talk about Kevin Liles. He's in the news again. So Kevin Liles is being sued for, well, he's saying it's extortion. But according to Lady Luck, and I was like, Lady Luck, that name sounds so familiar. But then I thought about who Lady Luck is. Lady Luck, if you guys, her family had a show on Bravo. I do not remember when that show aired on Bravo, but she had a show on Bravo, and she also dated Samaya Reese from Love and Hip Hop New York. I feel like when Love and Hip Hop New York had its 10th season, I know Samaya came back. If I'm not mistaken, I do believe Samaya came back with her as her girlfriend. I think they were still together at that time, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, right? But Lady Luck is, she's coming against Kevin Liles. And this one is for, I think it's for SA. Let me get it pulled up, you guys. Yeah, it's SA allegations, right? Let's see if I can find it. Because Kevin is accusing her of extortion. But I'm trying to find the articles about her. But it says hip hop executive Kevin Liles is breaking his silence following public threats made by rapper Lady Luck, who claims she was actually assaulted by Liles during her time at Def Jam. Her real name is Chanel Jones. She's not filed a formal lawsuit, but has threatened legal action and the release of a tell-all book unless Kevin pays her $30 million. In a statement released on May 27th, Liles called the allegations totally false and said he views the threats as a calculated extortion attempt. He says, 3 weeks ago, I received a letter threatening to publish a book and file a public lawsuit riddled with utterly false and horrendous accusations if I didn't pay them $30 million, Liles wrote. Lady Luck made waves in the late 90s with her fierce. Now, like I said, I don't know Lady Luck. I knew her from the show that she did with her family, and I know her from dating somebody. Other than that, I don't really know Lady Luck. But it says, according to Liles' statement, Lady Luck is threatening to accuse him of sexual misconduct dating back 26 years when she was newly signed to Def Jam. It says, Ms. Jones threatened to allege that I exposed myself to her and pushed her towards my genitalia. None of this ever happened. Kevin said her claims are not only fabricated but directly contradicted by her past statements and her long-time standing relationship with him and his family. Kevin also referenced several interviews and podcasts over the years where Lady Luck discussed childhood trauma, often clarifying that she was not abused by older men. Quote, me personally, I never had, from the older guys, she said during a 2023 podcast episode. In a 2016 video interview, she also downplayed any such experiences, attributing her early trauma to boys her own age. Liles called the shift in narrative a strategic move for money. Quote, the only reason Ms. Jones has changed her story is because she is seemingly hoping to extract a payday from me. Liles expressed empathy for Lady Luck's struggles with addiction, mental health, and grief, especially after the loss of her mother. Still, he insisted those personal challenges don't justify her current threats. Quote, despite her extremely hurtful and false accusations, I pray for her healing and well-being, he said. He also provided examples of their positive interactions over the years, including a 2024 request from Luck for help distributing her single, which she described as full fucking circle moment. Quote, as recently as last year, she reached out to me in a 2020 Instagram post. She wished me a happy birthday and called my family. Okay. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this. I ain't really got much to say. He feels like it's extortion, and he's saying that what she's saying now contradicts what she said in the past. Y'all can tell me how y'all feel about that. Like I say, until proven otherwise, we believe what the victim says, right? Until proven otherwise. But that's all I got for this week, you guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, you guys. And until the next time, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. We do this every single week, same time, same place, same channel, same host. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.